Hi everyone, this is 5th grade Elevate lesson 61 on graphing decimals on the number line. For today's lesson, students are figuring out how to zoom in on a number line in order to plot a decimal point in its exact spot. So for example, let's say we are going to plot the number 0.24. The first thing that we would want to ask ourselves is, okay, between which of these holes on the number line does 0.24 go between? And so students should be able to identify that between 0 and 1, 0.24 should land. Somewhere in between here is where 0.24 should land. However, it's very, very hard for us to see exactly where it would go. So we're going to go through this process of like zooming in, right? But we can't physically zoom in or even zooming in on our papers. I can zoom in on my iPad, but we have physical papers in front of us. Zooming in is not necessarily going to help us. It's not even going to show us numbers. And so we're going to draw another number line that allows us to zoom in further to our tenths place. And so when we have our tenths place number line, notice that our endpoints are 0 and 1, right? That's where we zoomed into. And so now we have to focus on numbering the number line so it has the tenths place. So 1 tenth, 2 tenths, 3 tenths, 4 tenths, 5 tenths, 6 tenths, 7 tenths, 8 tenths, 9 tenths. Then we need to ask ourselves, okay, well, what is the tenths place in our number? Well, 0.24 or 0 and 24 hundredths, our tenths place is the 2. But it's not 0.20, so I can't plot the point right here. And the number is not 0.30, so I can't plot right here either. That means that I need to zoom in again to see what is between the 0.2 and the 0.3. And I should be saying between 2 tenths and 3 tenths. Sorry. I need to zoom in a little further to see my hundredths. Okay, so when I zoom in a little further, I get this graph right here, this number line. My endpoints match the endpoints that I was between, so 20 hundredths and 30 hundredths, or 2 tenths and 3 tenths. I zoom in a little bit further. I number my number line, so I had 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, and then 30. Now let me see if I can find 24 hundredths. If I can find this entire number. Yeah, it's right here. So this is the process that you will explain to kids. I wouldn't pay too much attention right here. I would just highlight for kids this process up here and then jump into a 5-minute teacher model, starting with questions 2 and 3. So let's jump into question 2. Question 2 says plot 5 and 9 tenths on the number line below. Note the tenths lines are drawn for you, okay? So we're just focused on plotting for this question. So, okay, 5 and 9 tenths. That's 5 ones or 5 holes and 9 tenths. So I want to ask myself, between which 2 holes would 5 and 9 tenths fall? It would fall between 5 and 6. Now, it's very hard for me to identify the tick mark, so we are going to do our zoom in process to figure out exactly where it goes. And this is where we're going to want to number our tick marks. So because we are now moving in or zooming into the tenths place, I would love to rewrite these numbers to account for the tenths place. So I have 5 and 0 tenths first as my endpoint instead of just 5. 5 and 1 tenths, 5 and 2 tenths, 3 tenths, 4 tenths, 5 tenths, 6 tenths, 7 tenths, 8 tenths, 9 tenths, and then 6 and 0 tenths. Now, based on my new zoomed in number line, am I able to find 5 and 9 tenths? Yes, I am. It's right here. So then you move on to question 3. Use the blank number line below to plot 4 and 3 tenths. Okay, between which two holes does 4 and 3 tenths fall? Well, okay, I want to point out that this question is even very different. The number looks similar, but the task is different, okay? Because in question 3, the number line and the tick marks have been drawn for you. In question 3, the number line and the tick marks have not been drawn for you. And during students' exit tickets, they are going to be required to draw their own number line, label it, and plot. So this is a very important question that I also want you to model. So, but it gives you the steps. It says label the number line 0 to 10. Okay, or 1 to 10. The goal is to make sure that we ask students, well, between which two ones or which two holes would 4 and 3 tenths fall? Between 4 and 5, right? Because this number is 4 and something. It says 4 and 3 tenths. So that means it's 4 and something else, but it's not quite 5 yet. So, okay, that I guess will require us to zoom in a bit and focus on our tenths place. We are going to draw 9 tick marks between 4 and 5 to create 10 spaces, right? So we have here, let me draw it out. So we have 4 and 0 tenths, and then our other endpoint was 5 and 0 tenths. So here we have 4 and 1 tenth, 4 and 2 tenths, 4 and 3 tenths, 4 and 4 tenths, 4 and 5 tenths, 4 and 6 tenths. Oops, this is 4 and 7. That's 4 and 8. And then this one is 4 and 9 tenths. So now, class, are we able to identify where 4 and 3 tenths is? Yep, 4 and 3 tenths is right here. So from there, now we're going to go back to question 1. And this question is going to be very, 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 very important because it looks like the questions that students will be asked to do during their partner practice and on their exit ticket. So let's go ahead and jump in. So in this question, we are asked to plot 4 and 76/100ths. The number line, the first number line has already been labeled for you. It has the holes, so we can ask ourselves, okay, between which two ones can we find 4 and 76/100ths? Students should be able to identify that between 4 and 5. Great. So between here, 4 and 76/100ths should be plotted. Okay, well, in the perfect world, we would zoom in and try to find it. However, we're on paper, so we can't zoom in. So we will have to create a separate number line. Because we zoomed in specifically between 4 and 5, we need to make sure that those are our endpoints for our 10th place number line. Okay, and again, if it is helpful, because we are in the 10th place, have students write, instead of 4, have them write 4.0 or 4 and 0 tenths, 5 and 0 tenths, okay? So that should help students figure out from there how to number their number line. So we have 4.0, 4.1, 4.2, 4.3, 4.4, 4.5, 4.6, 4.7, 4.8, 4.9, 5. Okay, class. Do we see 4.76? No, but we see 4.7, we see 4.8. Okay, what does that mean for us? That means that 4.76 or 4 and 76/100ths is probably between 4 and 7 tenths and 4 and 8 tenths. So should we just plot our point anywhere within that line in the middle? No, we have to be a little bit more specific. We have to zoom in. All right. Again, we zoom in. It doesn't really help us. because we're on paper, we can't physically zoom in. So we are creating a simulation by drawing a number line that is zoomed in that now will focus on the hundredths place. Okay. And so because we zoomed into 4 7/10 and 4 8/10, those are going to be our endpoints. Notice that we have put the 0 in the hundredths place as a placeholder so that we can help ourselves conceptualize the hundredths. So we have 4 70 hundredths, 71, 72, 73, 74, 75, 76, 77, 78, 79, and 80. Okay, class. Now, are we able to identify 4 76 hundredths on the number line? Yes, it's right here. So those are the steps that you will take kids through. Basically, the whole page is for you to model. And then students will jump into 10 minutes of partner practice at a volume level 1. They're going through the zoom in process with their buddies for questions 4, 5, and then questions 8, 9, 10, 13, and 14 require students to use the number line to label the point that they have been given. Questions 13 and 14 require students to create their own number line and then plot the point, which is going to set them up for success for their exit ticket, which are questions 17, 18, and 19. They are doing the zoom in process, then they are plotting a point based on a given number line, and then they are creating their own number line and having to plot the point.